Alright guys, here's 4G, comparing and ordering fractions part 2. So let's write that on the outside of our notes page here. Remember at 4G, I can compare and order fractions. Okay, so inside here we've got some work we need to do. I'm looking at my first fraction, and if you need to have your notes from the first video nearby, that would be helpful. You can reference those to help you do this work. Alright, so I'm looking at these two fractions. I need to compare them, 3/6 and 4/6. Remember, the first thing I do is to check those denominators and see if they're the same, and in this case they are the same. And so I know that I can just look at these numerators to tell whether one is bigger or smaller or equal to the other. And so in this case I've got 3, which of course is less than 4, and so I know I want a less than symbol there. 3/6 is less than 4/6. Alright, now the next one, I see that I do not have like denominators, and so I need to list my multiples of 3 and 7 until I find one that they can both divide into, and I know that that's 21. So we want to turn this into a fraction with 21 in the denominator, and this into a fraction with 21 in the denominator. In order to change 3 into 21, I want to multiply by 7. Therefore, whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to my numerator as well. So I multiply my numerator by 7, and 2 times 7 is 14. Then I'm going to change my other fraction. I have to multiply 7 times 3 to get 21, and so I'm going to multiply 5 times 7 to get 35. Alright, so I'm looking at 14 over 21 and 35 over 21. Of course I know that 35 over 21 is larger, so that means that 5/7 is bigger than 2/3, or 2/3 is less than 5/7. Alrighty. So over here I've got 12/14 and 6/7. Again, I want a common denominator, and I don't have it, but I do know that 14 is a multiple of 7, so I really only need to change 6/7 so that it has a denominator of 14. In order to do that, I multiply by 2, and since I've done that in the denominator, I do that in the numerator as well, and I have 12/14. So I am comparing 12/14 and 12/14, and of course those two then would be equal. All right. Looking at my next one, I've got 8/12 and 5/9. I'm going to list the multiples of 12 and 9 until I find one that they both have in common. All right, so I'll do that up here, get kind of out of my way. So I've got 12. 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 12 times 3 is 36. Well, I know that 36 is also a multiple of 9, so I know that that's the number that I can use. A trick to making this faster for you is to take the larger number and list the multiples until you find one that the smaller number will go into, or vice versa. Take the smaller number, list the multiples until you find one that the larger number will go into. Alrighty, so here we go. We've got 8/12, and we want to make that 36. So I know that to get 12 to be 36, I want to multiply by 3. So I multiply my numerator by 3, and I have 24 over 36 here. And then 5/9, we want to put that in terms of 36. 9 times 4 is 36, so 5 times 4 is 20. So I am comparing 24/36 and 20/36. 24/36, of course, is bigger than 20/36, so 8/12 is bigger than 5/9, so we need a greater than symbol there. Alrighty. For class, I'd like you to finish up this one, and we'll talk about the rest of these in class. So you just need to do this one before I see you in class again. Okay, now we've got a list. We've got to order the following set of numbers from least to greatest. Well, in order to do that, we need a common denominator. And so I'm going to take my smallest number here and list multiples until I find one that also the other two numbers, 7 and 21, will divide into. So 3. 3 times 1, of course, is 3. That doesn't help me. 3 times 2 is 6. Still doesn't help me. 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 6 is 18, and 3 times 7 is 21. Well, there's my magic number, right? Because all of these will divide into 21. Alrighty, so I need to change all of these fractions to a fraction over 21. For my first one here, I would have to do 7 times 3, and so I do 5 times 3, which would give me 15 over 21. My next one, to change 3 into 21, I have to multiply by 7, and so 2 times 7 is 14. The next one's already has a denominator of 21, so I don't have to change that one at all. And my last one, I have to multiply 7 times 3 to get 21, so 1 times 3 would give me a new numerator of 3/21. So looking for the smallest, we want to do this in order of least to greatest. So the smallest number here is going to be 3 over 21, or 1/7. Notice we want the original fractions written in our list, not the ones with the common denominator. So I've taken care of that one. So after 3, I look for the next one. That would be 10. So 10 over 21 is my second in the list. And then 14 over 21 comes next, or 2/3. And then 15 over 21, or 5/7. And so in order, 1/7, 10 over 21, 2/3, and 5/7. Don't let my little marks there bother you. All right, I'd like you to do this one on your own before I see you in class, and leave this one. We'll talk about that one in class. All right, on the bottom then, we're going to match the fraction with the line that it goes with. So our first one, 5/8. We want to first of all pick a fraction bar that is broken into eighths. So we can see this one's not. And this is, these are our zeros, by the way. Let me make that clear there so you don't think that this is a space. Okay, and this is 1. So these are number lines for fractions. Okay, so this first number line here is broken into 1, 2, 3 fourths. It's broken into fourths, and we are picking 2 out of the 4. Well, I don't see any down there that say 2 out of 4, so I'm looking for a fraction that's equal to 2/4. And if I look down there, I can see that 1/2 is equal to 2/4. You know that those two are equal, so this is 1/2, or D. Next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's fifths there, and we're looking for 1/5, and that one's right here, so we can see that this one should be C. Next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, broken into 6, and we want 4/6. Oh, did I do that wrong? I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5/6 is what I'm looking for. All right, so we see that there. That's B. This one broken into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 8 parts, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're looking for 5/8 here, and so that's our A, 5/8. And then finally, hoping that we're going to match up with 1/10 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sure enough, and we're 1/10, and so that's our E. So that's how you plot fractions on a number line. All right, guys, make sure you do these 2 problems up here for me, and when I see you back in class, we'll talk about these other ones and have some more practice with comparing and ordering fractions.